The mother of a 10-year-old Delaware County girl who died from a TikTok challenge is now suing the social media giant. Tawana Anderson and her attorneys announced a wrongful death lawsuit against the company today in Center City. Anderson's daughter, Nyla, died last December after taking part in the Blackout challenge. The challenge calls for people to attempt to hold their breath until they pass out. Her mother says changes are needed.
It's time that these dangerous challenges come to an end, that other families don't experience the heartbreak we live every day.
Anderson's attorneys say they want to learn how TikTok's algorithm targets children and stop it. But TikTok responded to this lawsuit, and they say the trend predates its platform and has never been a TikTok trend. The company added it remains vigilant about user safety and would immediately remove any related content.
Parents' worst nightmare has become a legal case that could change the face of social media. 10-year-old Nyla Anderson died after taking part in so-called blackouts that went viral on TikTok. Well, now a U.S. appeals court is allowing her mom's lawsuit against TikTok to move forward. Tawana Anderson has been fighting for years to get justice for her daughter. She died in 2021 from attempting the blackout challenge that dared people on TikTok to choke themselves until they lost consciousness. Social media companies are usually protected from liability for the third-party content that appears on your feed under a federal law that goes back to 1996. But last month, a Supreme Court ruling changed all that.
A U.S. appeals court has revived a lawsuit filed by the mother of a 10-year-old Pennsylvania girl who tragically died after attempting the viral TikTok infamous Blackout challenge that encouraged participants to choke themselves until they lost consciousness. The court's decision challenges the broad protections typically afforded to online platforms under federal law, specifically Section 230 of the 1996 Communications Decency Act, which often shields internet companies from liability for content posted by users. On December 12, 2021, Tawana Anderson discovered her daughter, Nyla Anderson, unresponsive in a closet at their home after the active, happy, healthy, and incredibly intelligent girl attempted to complete the dangerous challenge.
I just want people to pay attention, be aware of TikTok, make sure you're checking your kids' phones.
2 years ago, Nyla's mother stressed to parents kids may not have the maturity to know the tricks they see on social media are dangerous.
Just pay attention because you never know what you might find in their phones or the things they try that you think 10-year-olds wouldn't try. They're trying because they're kids and they don't know no better.
This challenge, popularized on the world's second most used non-gaming app, involves participants choking themselves with belts, towels, or other objects until they lose consciousness. Despite being rushed to the hospital, Nyla passed away 5 days later. At a 2022 press conference announcing the lawsuit, Anderson expressed her ongoing grief, stating, "I cannot stop replaying that day in my head," and called for an end to such dangerous challenges to prevent further heartbreak for other families. The lawsuit argues that TikTok could be held liable not just for hosting the content, but for actively promoting it through its algorithm, which allegedly steered the dangerous Blackout challenge to Nyla Anderson's For You feed. Despite previous deaths linked to the challenge, TikTok's algorithm reportedly targeted the video to Nyla, leading to the tragic incident. The Blackout challenge is just one of several deadly viral challenges that have emerged over recent years. Between 2021 and 2022, it was linked to the deaths of 20 children, 15 of whom were under the age of 12, including 8-year-old Leilani Walton and 9-year-old Ariane Arroyo, just to name a few. Other dangerous trends include the Skullbreaker Challenge, where participants kick someone's legs out from under them as they jump, resulting in severe injuries and even criminal charges. The Angel of Death Challenge, a disturbing game where individuals jump in front of moving vehicles, has reportedly caused multiple fatalities. Additionally, the Fire Challenge, in which kids record themselves setting fires at home, left a 12-year-old Arizona boy in the ICU, requiring multiple surgeries. These dangerous challenges, fueled by the rapid spread of content on social media platforms like TikTok, have had devastating consequences, highlighting the urgent need for greater awareness and intervention to protect young users.
The Supreme Court ruled the algorithms on these platforms are protected speech of the platforms. That looked like a victory for the tech companies, except if the algorithms are protected speech of the tech companies, then they're also liable for the outcomes of those algorithms.
Anderson's lawsuit claims TikTok targeted Nyla by recommending Blackout challenge content to her. This week, an appeals court judge revived the lawsuit, ruling that, quote, TikTok makes choices about the content and promoted to specific users, and by doing so, it engaged in its own first-party speech. Now this lawsuit has been kicked back down to a lower court to begin that long process toward a trial.
The three-judge appeals court panel partially reversed the earlier dismissal on August 27th, sending the lawsuit back to the lower court for trial. In his opinion, Judge Paul Maddie emphasized the vulnerability of 10-year-old Nyla Anderson, stating, Nyla is still in the first year of her adolescence, likely had no idea what she was doing, or that following along with the images on her screen would kill her. But TikTok knew that Nyla would watch because the company's customized algorithm placed the videos on her For You page. Jeffrey Goodman, a lawyer representing Nyla's family, commented on the broader implications of the ruling, noting that it's inevitable that courts will increasingly scrutinize Section 230 as technology becomes more deeply integrated into everyday life. Goodman expressed hope that the ruling will lead to greater protections for others, even though sadly, it can never bring Nyla back.
For people who aren't familiar with TikTok, what they're saying is it's not like this girl went and searched for the Blackout challenge. She just opened up the app, she's scrolling, and it popped up. How does the algorithm play into legal responsibility?
She didn't search for it, it searched for her. That's what the court is saying. And it said that typically you got to go back to this federal law. You want something like this. Specifically, Section 230 protects companies from having third-party people put information on their website and then them being liable for it. For instance, if you put racist things on Facebook, I can't sue Facebook because there's racist material on there because Facebook didn't print it. Facebook didn't create it. They didn't have editorial content or judgment in it. However, with these algorithms, what the Supreme Court has said most recently is, no, wait. With the fact that you're sending this to an individual, that they're not looking for this information, that you have an algorithm that now determines and tries to figure out how it goes and gives it to another person, now that's editorial judgment. And now this is your created content. And because of that, it kind of skirts around Section 230 that was there intended to protect companies to be able to, we wouldn't have an internet if everyone could get sued all the time for information that was posted by third parties. So you needed that protection. But this takes them around that 230 protection because now you are creating and producing and distributing the content. Different novel approach. And the judge at the time even said, she said, in the past, this case would have been tossed. This does not go with our current way of thinking. This doesn't go with my past way of thinking, but it goes with the current Supreme Court Justice's most recent ruling. And so I now have to abide by that.
Khalif, if you were speaking to this group that's here in town today, the Sparks Community Group, if you were talking to them at this round table, like what would be your advice, not only as a legal attorney, but as a father to, we want our kids to explore social media, but man, there are so many, it's hard to even know, there's like visible boundaries out there to keep them safe.
First thing I say is the same thing I said to my daughters last night, because all three of them are heavily TikTok users. Obviously not posting, but just looking on there. I think they're too young to create content, but absorbing content. And I wasn't aware that those algorithms were looking for them. And so I talked to them about challenges. I'm like, listen, are you guys participating in these challenges? I didn't even know this challenge existed. There's a blackout challenge that's making you hold your breath until you black out. Well, I said, hey, do all the things that are fun. Do the dancing things. But if there's anything that's going to hurt you, you probably want to make sure you're not doing those, because this girl died and I showed them the story. And so what I would encourage parents to do if they're in this meeting is to ensure that you're having some interaction with these devices. As there's so many different social media things popping up, I don't even have time to keep up. So I just thought it was all dances. When I started looking at the story, I was like, wait, there's multiple challenges like this where kids have been dying in the past. This lawsuit came out of Philadelphia, my hometown. There's another person, another kid that died with this exact same challenge. So two families have lost their child because they were attempting to follow this viral thing that every other kid wanted to do. I mean, I just did not know this was a thing. And so your awareness as a parent is important. Your education as a community is important. But the safeguards are always going to have to be lifted up, because as these companies come out and new things or innovative ways to try to increase profits, those algorithms will continue to be there to find you even if you're not looking for it.